Mangaung's city manager has been suspended following this week's violent service delivery protest. We now speak to Qondile Khedama, who is the spokesperson regarding the suspension of the city manager. Mr. Khedama, very good morning. Thank you for speaking to us. Why was the city manager suspended?
Well, you'd remember that we were supposed to have a council meeting on Thursday. It was subsequently adjourned, but what has happened yesterday, it was just a continuation of the council that was scheduled, and part of it, or part of the items, was to handle the issue of deal with the issue of the city manager. And obviously that led to the decision that he be suspended yesterday and somebody to act. But this was born out of a number of meetings. Part of it was the intervention by both the Premier and the MEC for COCTA.
What I'm not getting from you is what are the charges that have resulted in the suspension? Well,
earlier, the Council of Mangaung had already instituted investigations. So what we have seen with the shutdowns, the intervention of the province, was just the culmination of the process that has been started. All that was supposed to happen was to make it through the processes of the council and of the law. Part of it was the issues that were brought forward, was the irregular expenditure in the city, and obviously the pressure that comes with all those grievances is brought into the city by some of the stakeholders.
When you talk about irregular expenditure, does this mean that money was misappropriated, not spent correctly? What does it speak to?
Yeah, that is in line with what that was extracted from in my view, the AG's report, and well, that is subject to investigation, hence the suspension.
And how long is this suspension for?
Well, it is meant to ensue for 3 months, and then obviously a report will be tabled before the council, and decisions will then be made.
Will the city manager still be paid? Is he still entitled to his benefits during this time of suspension?
Yes, he's entitled to his benefit.
Now let's talk about the engagement of the Premier and certainly the community members. What is the feeling or the mood in the camp, if I could ask? Because obviously I did have an interview with a spokesperson for the community leaders who had agreed to stop the riotous activities and the demonstrations with a view that some progress would be made.
Yeah, look, I think you captured it right that they can only speak for themselves. That is the MCC. But what the Premier had brought to the attention of all the stakeholders is to come up with the team. That team will then deal with all the grievances. And part of what has happened, it's in line with what the MEC, COCTA, and the Premier had included in the agreement with the MCC. And there was an agreement that there would be those immediate things that are being implemented, medium and the long term. So we are dealing with those, and the project management team that is located within the MEC's office would then be meeting weekly to expedite some of the issues that have been threshed out in the agreement.
Well, you talk about expediting issues, and I think the suspension of the city manager is clear indication of how serious the Premier and her team are. Would that be a correct assessment?
Definitely. Yes. I mean, a suspension is not an easy thing, but once somebody comes to that a conclusion, it means it's a serious matter.
Now, Mr. Khedama, it then begs the question, why do we have to wait for riots, and in this instance, loss of life as well, before you act or before the municipality acts?
Well, there are a number of activities that have been undertaken based on what was coming from the community. For an example, with a program that it's branded Reclaiming the City, this program was, amongst other things, looking at making sure that the service delivery does happen. There are other remedial actions that were undertaken through the Treasury, where we're dealing with the financial recovery plan. And those are the things and the initiatives that shows the seriousness of which we were taking what was coming from the community. So I take that the issues related to suspension was just an acceleration of some of the things that have been brought to the attention through the Kokta province, that is the Tembeni Ngangisa, and the Premier's office. So the city itself was also doing its part in making sure that we listen to what the community wants, we listen to what the community says, and I am sure that we are going to even accelerate on those processes that I've indicated to the one that it's led by the National Treasury, and the one that we have long started of reclaiming the city, making sure that the service delivery, we deal with the immediate things like sewer spillages, revenue issues, collection of waste, which is one of the issues that has been an issue in the city itself.
Now, you talk about Treasury, and I assume that when you talk about Treasury, it's about funding some of these activities. Now, issues around service delivery, such as burst sewerage pipes and non-collection of waste, are some of the issues that the community were complaining about. How do you see the municipality taking care of these in the short term?
Well, in the short term, one of the things that is critical is making sure that we adhere to the financial recovery plan. There are some strides that have been made, but equally, we also have to take care of some of the issues like the margins with regard to revenue collection. We are, as the city, not collecting to a point where it would be comfortable that whatever we've collected will sustain us in making sure that we deliver quality services. But these are the issues that are being discussed with the National Treasury. But at the center, it's making sure that at least basic services are being attended to, the same one that you are talking about of waste collection, dealing with sewer spillages, water interruptions, and dealing with, because that's another key thing, the water infrastructure or the underground infrastructure of the city, because it has to be funded well. And so now a combination of all those issues are being dealt with at the level of the National Treasury, but even ourselves internal as the management. Now the ball game is changing. We will have somebody who is now acting, and I am sure that person would be able to encapsulate all the issues that are outstanding and how best does he make an intervention, because the person must then lead the team. And I'm looking forward to a positive contribution from him, and maybe and looking forward that the situation will definitely improve.
Mr. Khedama, thank you for your time. Qondile Khedama, the Mangaung Municipality Spokesperson.